unless you've been hiding under a rock, we all know what happened in Australia yesterday. But the question no one seems to be asking, is this all by design? Are these type of attacks coming to Canada? My name is Nico Lagan, and I'm too conservative for the conservatives. My co-host, Rob Ambrose, not woke enough for the liberals. We are the political orphans. Tonight we have a very interesting show for you guys. I propose to you what happened in Australia, but with a little twist. I also have to talk about something that's been reported that Rogers is doing in order for you to gain access to their stores. And at 8:30, so 25 minutes from now, we are joined by a woman that's being brought to court for defamation after she called an LGBTQ member a groomer. So make sure to stick around because that woman's story is something that we have to look forward to if Bill C9 becomes law in Canada. What's going on, man?
What's happening, brother? Yeah,
what's going on?
Lots of stuff to talk about. Lots of stuff to talk about. Lots of interesting stories.
Yeah, well, you know, let's jump right into it because this is a story that friend of the show, at least he's somebody that I record content with every now and then. Like he's been on a few of our mashups. I think he's been on this show before, but he posted that earlier today, and I'm like, does that make sense or not? Because it seems like conspiracy theorists out there got something right again. It's reported that Rogers is now requesting facial recognition for their clients to enter their stores, and they're selling that idea under the guise of security because they're getting robbed. So very interesting video that was posted by Wiretap. I'm going to play the video. I did a bit of digging, and it seems that yeah, they've been doing this for a little while. So let's check out this video, then we're going to jump in the story of the day, that is, what the fuck is happening in Australia, and can Canada expect the same here? So here is the video that Wiretap posted earlier today.
Hi everyone, it's Patty here. I just want to do a video here. So I come to Rogers. I want a screen protector, and this is a new security measure, and I guess it's face recognition program, and Rogers is using it here. This is Rogers and Fido. And what they have here is you have to look up at the camera now.
So attention, for entry, please ring intercom and look up at the camera. As a safety measure, we may refuse entry to any person. Robbery prevention program in effect, limited product inventory inside, 24-hour surveillance with immediate police dispatch. Stolen devices will be blocked from network access. Thank you for your patience. So that's what the sign is saying, but let's let her finish her video.
And they are using face recognition for security. See that? Now, isn't that a security breach, eh? Face recognition to get into Rogers.
So,
well,
I saw that.
Is that what's going on, though, or is it just you look in the camera so that if you rob the place, they have your face on camera? Because I mean,
that is the correct question.
Yeah,
that should be the next question everybody asks themselves. Is that what's going on? Well,
yeah, I mean, if it is, that's a real problem.
Well, in the video, obviously, it doesn't say anywhere about facial recognition, but there was a post. Just let me find it, because there's somebody that actually posted on Wiretap.
I'm pretty dark here.
Yep, that's fine. I guess the post got pushed down, but here is the post. There you go. So Wiretap posted, the Canada Privacy Commissioner has found that the use of facial recognition is unlawful, and it's not lawful, but supposedly there's laws in place, but they're not very precise, so they're easy to bypass. But what I wanted to show is this. So there's somebody that reported that was it right here? Yeah, there you go. So supposedly here's another Rogers store. Supposedly that they are talking about facial recognition on their image right here. But let me just download it so I can blow it off for you guys. Blow it up for you guys. Let's use picture. You guys still... Oh, you guys are not seeing my screen now. Hold on. I'm just going to blow it up just to show... it's so bad. But I did more research. And of course, you guys know me. I can't just accept what people are telling me. So I did some research, and good old Google showed it for me. You gotta love Reddit. So I started doing research. I fell into a question on Reddit. Rogers took biometric information when I opened a new mobile account. I recently opened a new account with Rogers Mobile at one of their stores. The account opening process involved facial recognition. There's a web link they asked me to open on my cell phone, then enable the camera and go through the face recognition. They told me that Rogers and Bell are now doing this to their customers as a security measure. Never heard of something like this in the past. What is going on? I don't know if you ever saw that, but some of the social media to authenticate, like to become like a blue check mark, you have to do that. Yep. So I've seen that before. But what I found interesting is that there's somebody in there. I just need to find it. It actually says, you know, I worked at Rogers and we do that. There's a bunch of comments like people are saying, yep, I've had that, I've had that, I've had that. I worked for a store, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there you go. So there's confirmation upon confirmation upon confirmation of people are saying that they went to the store, and yes, oh, there you go. I work at Rogers. It's a recent verification process for wireless only. Once you provide the agent with your 2 pieces of ID, the link sent to you has to match that with a facial recognition. Question: do you know whether or not they're storing the bio data after the verification? This is the exact question you should be asking. And let's see the answer, because I do not believe, see, the answers were deleted. So that doesn't look good. But then what you can do is that you can download their T's and C's, and you can check on page 26. Why is it so black? Oh, there we go. On page 26, they do talk about giving consent. So under the consent information right here, they do use biometrics information. This includes behavioral biometrics such as typing pattern, mouse movement, and swiping gestures when interacting with our digital platform, voice biometrics. If you have opted in or voice ID program for identity verification and fraud prevention. So they're not saying it out loud that they're using facial recognition, but as per somebody that works there, as per their T's and C's, they're definitely collecting some type of biometrics. I like the typing patterns, the behavioral biometrics. That's an interesting one to me. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But is that surprising? No.
Yeah, no. I mean, whether Roger specifically is doing that or not in this instance, I mean, really, it's sort of a moot point, because the bigger issue is, this is going on some level, and this is getting implemented across the board. So, I don't know that that's what Rogers was doing, but if it helps people to start the conversation, then yeah, sure, I'm all for it.
And that was the whole point. Clearly their T's and C's are talking about collecting biometrics. Why else would they ask you to look up at the camera? Because they want to take your face. So is it for facial recognition softwares? Is it just to have a picture of your face? Of course it is. Obviously.
It could be for security. And then now that they have your data, well, we've already got it. We may as well put it into the database.
Exactly. So I love the comments. People are like, yeah, but you're agreeing to this. Okay, hold on here. If I need to go in person to get my cell phone fixed and I'm a Rogers customer, I don't agree to this shit. I just don't have a fucking choice. What am
Yeah,
I supposed to
exactly.
do? And one of the comments that wins the internet on that post is somebody with a full Nico. Somebody said, that's the
No,
solution.
yeah. But they'll make exceptions, of course, for
Well, yeah.
the Islamic situation.
I don't understand. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, special treatment for Muslims?
What?
Never,
No.
never seen that.
No. So, talking about Muslims,
Yeah, the newsies.
We all know what happened at the Bondi Beach in
Yeah.
Australia. Up to
Yeah.
now, we're looking at 15 people have been killed, 27 are injured. I saw a video. I don't know if you saw that video, but it's only possible on X because it is violent. Like, it's literally the two guys are shooting at people for about 5 to 10 minutes. This is not the point of the video, the point of the show. All those videos are out there. I have no interest in showing those videos, but I kind of wanted to approach one of the things that's not being talked about right now is that what's coming to Canada? Because, we had an episode, we did a mashup on Saturday that was about radical Islam. That was about, is the Islamic religion, is the Quran compatible with our Western values? Are Muslim values Canadian values, as our PM said in the past? So this is not funny, but we talk about this. I wake up to texts from the people that were on the panel saying, our conversation was kind of right on point, right? Because we were talking about that the day, like a few hours before it started happening in Australia. So one of the things that I found interesting is that Australia, just like Canada, has been opening their borders for the past few years, for literally the past 10 years. They've been opening up their borders to a lot of Muslims. You're talking about, they represent right now, the estimate is that they've let in at least 1 million Muslims since 2016, so over the past 9 years. The population right now is around 3.7, 3.9% of the population in Australia is Muslim. And we've talked about this. We talked a bit about this on Saturday, how, they say the break-in point's about 10%. When they reach about 10% of the population, they start really taking over. Exactly. And we see they're not even at 10% in the UK. And how many mayors of major cities in the UK are now Muslims? But here's an article. I just wanted to highlight this because this is the exact question we should be asking. Bondi Beach massacre is what globalizing the Intifada looks like. And, they show some of the footage from the shooting. But what's interesting is that you have people in the mainstream media, because let's be honest, National Post is mainstream media, is actually asking the question, are we responsible for this? Is the fact that right here, Albanese, the Prime Minister of Australia, shouldn't be surprised by this terror attack occurred in Sydney. Since October 7th, Australia has allowed Islamic to demonstrate and spread their virulent Jew hatred unimpeded. In the days following October 7th, Sydney and Melbourne streets were full of demonstration calling for Intifada, the killing of Jews, and of course, the cries of Allahu Akbar. When you read this, you're like, are you sure you're not talking about Canada? Because we hear from the river to the sea all the time. I don't know if you saw that, but the FBI just released a statement this morning that they stopped a bombing that was supposed to happen in the US on multiple fronts, like multiple places were supposed to be attacked. Yes, by the way, I'm looking at the comments. Some people are saying that it was a black flag in Australia based on a specific picture. I'm going to let that one develop a bit, and I'll show the picture where there is a guy getting makeup, and then not long after you see him pose for an Instagram post with all the fake blood saying that he was shot, that he grazed his head. The post is really messed up, but I'm going to let that one develop. But the
Mhm.
point of this is this is what I want to ask the people out there. Is this what's coming to Canada? Because we've done the same thing. We have allowed hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Muslims from countries where they don't promote Western values. They're not here to embrace our Western values, but they're here to take advantage of our Western values, to take advantage of the fact that the woke is so indulgent that will, under the guise of inclusion, they will let them in and let them do whatever they want. And, I was doing research, and I can tell you, man, from everything that I can find, Canada is worse than Australia when it comes to allowing them to pray all over the place, to close streets, to close to take over streets, to take over parks, to have their protests, those Free Palestine, River to the Sea protests all the time. Everything I could find, we're worse here than we are in Australia. So that's the question I want to ask the people out there. Is this what's coming to Canada? Because it's a valid question. We need to ask ourselves that question. Because remember, what's the process? Mass immigration. They live off the state, so they go on welfare. They take advantage of all of our social services. Then we allow them to pray everywhere. We allow them to close down streets, close down parks. They can protest whenever they want, anywhere they want. Then people get fed up with it. They get frustrated. Then you start having counter protests like what we're seeing now. And what's the next step? You get terror attacks. Because remember, even you mentioned it, how they changed their ways. They don't invade with the gun anymore. The ballot over the bullet. And this is, to me, when I look at Australia, this is exactly what's happening. You're at a point where they're comfortable. They've infiltrated your country. Is that what we need to expect now happening all over the West? Are those terror attacks coming? Is that the reality?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is actually it's a pretty... This one story, it has several different angles and several different debates. It's kicked off a gun control debate, of course. It's kicked off, the one we're talking about now, the Islamic, is Islam compatible with the West? And there's a few thoughts on that. I think, first of all, I remember, we've talked about this before, and I've said it is kind of weird. Remember there used to be a ton of Islamic attacks all over the West, all through the late, like 2008, 2009, 2010, up until about 2015. And then they all kind of really died off. And at about the same time as you had this mass immigration, that's when mass immigration really started to pull up. And it almost, my own internal conspiracy theorist was thinking, because, a lot of the people who are directing those terrorist attacks are imams and religious leaders, and because the religious leaders are essentially the leaders of the entire Islamic community. And it didn't seem that crazy to me to think some of them, they were starting to like, all right, guys, let's hold off on the terrorist attacks now for a little bit, because they know that if they start, if there's still a bunch of them, then it's going to be a lot harder to get mass migration. Because, if there's a terrorist attack, an Islamic terrorist attack every couple months, people are going to start turning against it in a way they haven't, like turn against Islamic migration in a way that we haven't, because it's been pretty quiet, right? So we haven't had anything to push to. But if this is a conspiracy theorist, if that proves true, then yeah, at some point one might assume that once they feel they've got enough in, they'll just say, unleash the hounds or let it rip, boys. Whether that's what's happening here, time will tell, and probably not that long, over the next 6 months. If it's a start of a trend, we're gonna see it. One thing that I found crazy about this story is this narrative that's developed on the left, where I'm sure you've heard it, where they're actually praising. They're like, oh, look at these racist Islamophobes. They're saying that Islam's a problem. Well, a Muslim man stopped it, because the guy who tackled the shooters was himself Muslim. Right. And that's, it's being like, even guys who are supposed to not be, woke retards, like Pierce Morgan, is that his name? The British guy who's kind of like center left, but he's got some obvious. Yeah. He's a big proponent on this, but basically saying because a Muslim stopped him, it's a Muslim hero, that it's nonsense to argue against Islamic migration to the West. And I just want to address it because that's the stupidest argument I've ever heard. First of all, the argument was never that every single Muslim in the West is a terrorist or is a problem. Some of them, I mean, you know, I used to date a Muslim girl. Her family were decent, hardworking people. They migrated to Canada 4 years ago the right way. They went through the proper channels. They're highly educated and they're going to contribute. There's a lot of good and decent Muslims out there. So the fact that one of them stopped the terrorist attack is not a surprise. No one said, like, that's not going against anything that anyone else is saying. But they're
that
like,
negates the killers. The
Yeah,
guy that
exactly.
stopped them is
It's
a
like,
Muslim,
he's
so
he's a
Muslims are
Muslim.
good.
It's a Muslim hero. Okay, but you don't need a Muslim hero if it wasn't Muslims shooting people in the fucking first place. And at the end of the day, like I said, it's not that anyone's saying 100% of Muslims in the West are terrorists. No, they aren't. Probably but it doesn't need to be that high of a number. If it's only even 20%, that's a massive fucking problem. And then the other argument to this is, I mean, at least as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't even really the threat of terror attacks that was my biggest, that was the argument against mass Islamic migration to the West. It was that they are bringing, values that are not at all compatible with Western civilization. Very very misogynistic. Like, they do not believe women are equal. Many of them don't believe that women are people, right? Many of these cultures, these are the cultures throwing homosexuals off of buildings. That is the argument. And then they come here and they are pushing Islam as a political system, and they are pushing for Sharia law. The problem, like I said, yeah, the terrorist attacks are not good, but that isn't the main reason not to do it, that is the main reason to be concerned about mass Islamic migration. The main reason is that they're coming here in huge numbers with a political agenda, and they are trying to change the very foundations of Western society out from underneath us. That's the main argument against mass Muslim migration.
And I think you're bang on. It is a political system. It is not just a religion.
Absolutely
It is a
And we need
political
to think about it like that.
system.
Yeah.
It is a political system. I was watching a video. I would love to have that guy. He's a pastor out of the US. I can't remember what his name is, but he was basically making the point that if you look at Christians and you look at the Quran, so look at the Bible, look at the Quran, and you look at the way Jesus was, and you look at the way Muhammad was. And the guy was explaining how Islam spread through the blood of their enemies. By shedding the blood of the enemy is how Islam spreads through the world. Christianity spread by our God allowing his blood to be spread in order to ask for forgiveness, to say, I forgive you, Father. Forgive them because they don't know. And the guy makes such valid points that Christianity spread through the sacrifice of the Son of God. Muhammad and the Quran spread by spreading the infidels' blood. So it's the guy's brilliant. I'm going to try to get him because it's very well explained. But where I was going with this, and this is the part that people are not talking about, is so what if everything that we're seeing right now, especially in Australia being the perfect example, is just one of those times where they created a problem because they were trying to sell us a solution. And what do I think that solution is? Well, I was writing a post this morning about this, and this video popped on my feed as I was saying, this is just wait until they start taking some rights and freedoms away. Here is Albanese, the PM of Australia, and what his solution is to the terrorist attack that took place on Bondi Beach yesterday.
The government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws. And this afternoon at 4 o'clock, I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet tougher gun laws, including limits on the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals. A review of licences over a period of time. People's circumstances change. People can be radicalised over a period of time. Licences.
So basically, the solution of the Australian government is not to admit that they have brought in over 1 million people, that their values don't align with Western values. It's because they have too much guns. And yet Australia got rid of their guns in the 90s. They are one of the nations with the less guns per capita. And now they're saying, oh, you know what, our solution to what happened to terrorism is for the people to have less guns. I don't know if you guys know Colin Noir. He's a lawyer, but a gun enthusiast in the U.S. He's probably one of the biggest Second Amendment advocate in the U.S. Has a great video on this, and he makes a point that I've made many times where he's just, do you guys realize that there were bombs in their cars? Do you guys not realize that you can ban guns? People will use knives, people will use bombs. And I've said this before, and this is not an idea that I'm trying to give anybody. If I wanted to kill as many people as possible, I wouldn't use guns. I would use bombs. I would use cars. I would use trucks. You know what I'm saying? There's way better ways than guns. But it's always interesting. I always find it very interesting when you have something that happens as terrible as the terrorist attack that took place in Bondi Beach in Australia, and then their solution is to get guns away from the people. I always look at this and I'm like, okay, so basically you created a problem through mass immigration because you were trying to sell an idea. You were trying to sell a solution that is take the guns away from the people. And by the way, wise guy, I was not the one typing. Rob the liberal typed under my name, so the whatever you saw that was typed within the last 5 minutes in the chat, it was not me.
There's only one box. You know.
Yeah, that's the thing. If he's gonna type, he types under the name. So it wasn't me. I didn't see what he typed. The correct argument.
I know we're talking about the here, or the quote unquote here, the guy who stopped the shooting. No, he was definitely a Muslim. His name is Ahmad Al Ahmad. Like that's not in doubt. It's reported all over by every Fox News,
actually,
left, right, whatever.
I actually saw many reports that the guy were saying that he was from Lebanon. Then he's a Christian. He's not even a Muslim. So I don't know if it's true or not. But I saw some reports that says he was not Muslim. He was actually Lebanese. Who knows if it's true or not? Which one is true? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Saying that even if he was Muslim. A Muslim guy stopping a terrorist attack committed by Muslim against Jews doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, no, exactly. It just has no bearing.
No.
Yeah, it's just absolutely no bearing whatsoever. It's just, and to even go, to even accept that as a valid, because the thing is, if you say, if someone's like, oh no, he's not a Muslim, he's a Jewish guy, and especially if the facts are saying, yeah, he's almost certainly Muslim, you're kind of giving legitimacy to the argument, because it seems like you're saying if he was a Muslim, it would mean that you have a point there, and that's not correct. Even if he's Muslim, it does not matter. It's idiotic to say that, like I heard someone say, well, if he didn't allow any Muslims in, then no one would have stopped the shooter. Well, yeah, if you didn't allow any Muslims in, there wouldn't be a shooter. Like, for fuck's sake. Come on, man.
Oh, let's. Our guest is in the back room, so Katie, can you hear us? Thumbs up if you can hear us, because we can see you. Awesome. So we will bring Katie Drake on. She is a Canadian woman from Alberta who became the target of a defamation lawsuit after posting on X in November 2024, something that is nothing compared to what I've said and posted all over the place. But Katie, good night. Hello. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good.
Absolutely.
How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
So we've created content with Kaylor Betts, the guy that posted about your story on Instagram that I saw a couple of days ago. And I saw the story. I'm like, yeah, okay, of course. It started now in Canada. We're going to end up in court for posts on X. And I went to my ex, I found your account, you were following me, so I'm like, yes, that's going to be an easy conversation. So I approached you, and here you are. So I want to bring up your actual post. So basically, you know what? Break down the story for us. What happened in November last year?
I was a student at Mount Royal University, and I was becoming increasingly frustrated with the ideological capture in Mount Royal. They were teaching gender ideology as something that is fact in mandatory courses for first-year students. And I was, just going around the campus and just noticing all of the different sort of signals I was receiving. There's a pride center there that has an image with a woman who's been given a double mastectomy. So she's had both of her breasts removed, and it's glorifying it and kind of like in a watercolor. She's got a beard and she's surrounded by flowers and wind, and she's so empowered to have her breasts removed. So there's this is right in the university in the Pride Center. And there's a craft fair, and I'm buying things for stocking stuffers and so on. And there's one table there that had something written on a sheet of paper, something to the effect of trans action. There's the piece of paper right there. And I just walked over and I asked the person at the booth, do you think that teachers should be keeping secrets with minors in regards to name changes and pronoun changes, what is called social transitioning for so-called trans kids? I call it grooming because I don't think there's any such thing as a trans child or some sort of imaginary gender essence. And I was a serious tomboy. I would have been very much so a kid that could have been one of the kids that could have been sucked into this. And so, figuring out that this table here was raising money for an organization called Stepping Stone. And Stepping Stone, along with EGAL, seemed to be part of the trans lobby. And those two organizations are the organizations that got the injunction. The injunction, a judge made a ruling that Bill 26, 27, and 29 would essentially be stuck in some sort of court limbo. And so Danielle Smith and her justice minister and her team basically said, kids are being irreversibly hurt. We don't have time for this. And so we need to invoke the notwithstanding clause. So this was all prior to the injunction. At this time when the table was there, the person at the table who I made the post, displaying what was happening here at Mount Royal. At that time, this table was raising money. The person at the table was raising money for Stepping Stone to fight the Alberta government through the courts. So that's what this was all about. It was all related to this situation in Alberta. And I believe very strongly that kids need to be protected. And so I, out of a sense of duty and I would say distress, one of the reasons why I was rude, I felt like I had to say something. My heart hurt. I was breaking for these children that I see myself in because I was quote unquote non-conforming. Nothing about our personalities makes us less of a female or less of a male biologically. That's a biological experience. Just because I liked karate and I got a black belt, just because I played football with the dudes every day and played rugby and climbed trees and got a degree in outdoor leadership and I like camping and backpacking and canoeing, that doesn't make me less of a female at all. And so to tell children that your personality means that you might be in the wrong body, and then you might have to have body parts cut off. I can't think of anything more cruel than telling a child that there's something fundamentally wrong with the way that they were born. That being healthy, normal, and natural is somehow a birth defect.
Yeah,
You know,
preaching to the
and
choir here,
I
can tell you that.
you're definitely preaching to the choir, but the part I just wanted to show is this is probably the part that got you in trouble, saying, why the fuck does this ugly woman who thinks she's neither a man or a woman, thus obviously mentally ill, who is fat and unhealthy, feels entitled to other people's children, and why does she want to involve herself legally by fundraising to take away parental rights of parents, to protect children from their ideology of self-confusion and self-hate? She is a groomer. Children need to be protected from people like her. And I would imagine that it's probably the paragraph that got you in trouble to say
So
that she was a groomer.
What actual trouble? Like what? Like, just walk us through like the specific sanctions or sort of punishment that was given to you for these posts.
There's been no sanctions currently by any sort of government body or anything like that.
Okay.
The statement of claim and the statement of defense is available, linked in the fundraiser, which is in the bio of my X account at Nuala Moonsnail. And there you can see everything from both sides. As far as political speech goes, political speech is the most protected speech in Canada, right? So I'm being sued in a defamation civil suit, and the plaintiff is asking for $150,000 in damages.
Wow.
So
Are you calling her a groomer?
Is it because of that post that Nico just read?
That's why I read the post.
That's the defamation claim. Wow, where's the
in
lie?
part. Okay. So it was also because of a video I did with Emily Duggan. And it was also because of another post I made. And it's, like I said, it's all in the statement of claim. It was just saying that the university is an activist institution because they give awards to activists. And the plaintiff was the activist, essentially. So you can look that up as well. So I think that, it's very important that we live in a society where there can be robust discussion and debate. You can't remove words from the lexicon, including groomer. And,
100%.
Nico, you were in a panel, I believe, on the Jason Levine show with Mia Hughes. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And she talked about grooming. And she said, that people have a certain idea about grooming having another meaning, right? But there's a new context now. This is a new context that didn't exist before. Never before in history, en masse, were children being taught in schools, in libraries, online, that they could somehow be born in the wrong body and be groomed into an ideology that would lead to irreversible harms through the worst medical malpractice scandal in human history. This is a new context, and the word needs to be able to be used so that we can discuss and analyze properly what is happening. We need to be able to call a spade, right? And so if you are inserting yourself directly or indirectly into the lives of children, if you feel entitled to make decisions about irreversible things happening to their bodies, I believe you're a groomer. Why are you inserting yourself? Anyone, right? This is very, if you look at, and I'm sorry, I'm like yelling. I'm going to take a tea break, and I'm going to cheers to Mia Hughes. Mia Hughes always has a lovely bone china teacup. So thank you, Mia Hughes.
Well, one of the defenses against defamation is truth, right? If it's true, and at least true as you see it. So I mean, I'm sure I don't know off the top of my head what the dictionary definition of grooming is, but I guarantee you, if you look it up, you're going to be able to apply that definition to everything that we are seeing out of this movement.
Yeah, one of the tactics of a groomer of any type is to isolate the victim. And if it's a vulnerable child, it would be to isolate that victim most often from their parents, unless their parent is involved in some form, right? So if they have a healthy, happy parent, then anyone who wants to take advantage, even if you were to bring a child into your cult of some sort, right, or anything, you want to isolate them. And so keeping secrets from parents is always a grooming tactic, right?
So
That's
here's
a huge
the definite.
red flag.
But here's the definition. Grooming is the process of building a relationship, trust, and emotional connection with a child, young person, or vulnerable adult to manipulate, exploit, and abuse them, often for sexual or financial purposes. This can occur online and in person and may involve the perpetrator gaining the trust of the victim's family or caregiver to appear trustworthy. Grooming typically involves behaviors such as giving gift, offering excessive attention, sharing secret, isolating the victim from others, and normalizing inappropriate or sexual behaviors over time.
It's literally
that to me, that defines to me the trans agenda that we are seeing in the school system everywhere. That is the perfect. Tell me that the books that Daniel Smith was trying to ban in Alberta don't depict normalizing inappropriate or sexual behaviors over time. Isolating the victim. What is more isolating the victim than saying we don't need to tell your parents what's going on at school because it doesn't matter to them, or we need to protect you from your parents is basically what they're telling them. How this is literally the definition. So I agree with you, Rob, on that one.
No contact. They always say,
of course,
no contact with the family if they have anything to say.
With this, so separating transgender grooming, transgender ideology grooming from pedophile grooming, separating those two and looking at what there is in common with the transgender ideology grooming, the exploitation is simply the fact that the child is going to be led down a path where they could be exploited by the medical malpractice scandal, right? The puberty blockers, the cross-sex hormones, the surgeries, that is harm. And so in that definition of grooming, we need to expand it, I believe, and I think that we should have this as part of the discussion to include this medical malpractice scandal, right? Because right now, this is something that needs to be exposed, and we're dealing with the fallout of this, and it needs to end. That's why, Florida State is suing WPATH, the Academy of Pediatrics, and the Endocrine Society, right? This is why Mia Hughes wrote the WPATH report, where it says that children don't have the ability to consent to this. They don't understand what is happening and what damages these procedures and hormones and drugs could cause their body forever. The stories are so sad when you see the people who testify who have been medicalized. One of them is Ari on X. His is at apostate Ari, ARI, sorry, and at apostate Ari was castrated and medicalized, and he's very open about it. It's very difficult to hear, but he talks very candidly with anyone who wants to ask him questions. He hosts spaces, he does videos, and he's under attack all the time. People are trying to dox him. It seems as though anytime someone wants to expose what's happening or talk about what's happening, there's a big force to try and silence or attack or ruin your life or scare you or threaten you legally or otherwise. Takes courage, but we need more people to have courage. They can't come after all of us.
No,
they're hurting.
This is why. read irreversible damage. For anybody that's not aware of what's actually going on and who's being hurt by this, irreversible damage by Abigail Schreier kind of rocked my world when I read this a couple of years ago. It blew my mind. I never imagined that it was that bad. I got to speak with Buck Angel, which is part of that book and probably one of the biggest voices out there against the trans agenda, being himself trans. Say, like, he's a woman. Like, he's the only guy that messes with my head, because I had an interview with him. He has more of a beard than I know. He's the only person that blows my mind. Yes, but she will be the first one to tell you that she has a mental problem, that there's something seriously wrong with her, and that is why she presents as a man, because it makes her feel better. But she doesn't claim to be a woman. So that guy, that woman, that dude, again, she's the only person that I always call a dude, because she's such a dude. She's just so much a dude when you talk to her. But the point of the matter is that it is a mental disorder. They are mentally ill, and we need to stop reaffirming them, and we need to treat them as patients. We need
Buck is
to
so
treat
courageous.
them. Oh yeah.
Buck is,
he is
Buck wants to
hated.
protect kids. Yeah. And people will use the argument too, should Buck be allowed in the women's washroom? Of course. Buck is female,
Buck's a woman.
right?
Buck's a woman, yeah.
Yeah. So, as far as different resources, there's Casbar as well. I've become an associate of Casbar, and Casbar really is focused on being reality based, which is very important. This whole thing has been very Orwellian, and I feel like we've been groomed as a society. Like, this grooming isn't, adults can be groomed, society can be groomed at large. It's just this continued messaging, changing the language, assigned at birth instead of observed at birth, using excuses like a disorder. If someone has a developmental sex disorder or whatever they're called, intersex, that's when something went wrong. That's not, an example of someone being born in the wrong body. Normally, the exceptions actually prove the rule, because of the way that our bodies are designed to go and create gametes, right? Women produce large gametes and males produce small gametes. And so you can't go through the opposite sex's puberty. That's not possible. That's some of the language that we hear, is that you need to pause puberty so that you don't go through the wrong puberty, and we can put you through the puberty of the opposite sex. That's not true, because your body is ramping up for production of gametes to be reproductive. That's the whole point of puberty. And so if you block it and put in the opposite hormones, all sorts of things can go wrong, including, I heard Billboard Chris saying that young ladies are being put into menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I had the chance to sit down with we had Billboard Chris on the show. Had the chance to sit down with an interview with him a few months ago, and he's right. The damage that they're creating is literally irreversible. You cannot go back from the damage that they're creating, and they're doing that to the people that are going through something that is literally changing their bodies, and we're making them believe that it is not normal for them to feel that way, that we can put a stop to that process in order to reassess. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And there's a great comment here by I'll just call him Church, because I can't pronounce the rest is just a bunch of letters, but Church of HZ, so Church of Hertz. 8 hours a day for 13 years straight. Yeah, that's the indoctrination for you, right? That's exactly what the youth is going through. And that's the main reason why my son will never go through the public system. Like, I don't want that type of crap being put in his head. But at this point, I was reading one of your posts that you are about, it has cost you about 70 grand already in defense for what's coming. So what's the next step for you?
We're just waiting for a response from the other side at the moment. So it's just a waiting game currently. And, getting together experts, looking into finding people that would be willing to talk about this situation. Hopefully this can spark a conversation. If this case could be used to help protect kids, I'll make any sacrifice. And this isn't about me anymore.
Good for you, because we definitely need more people like that. I speak up against, especially free speech. Like, that is my main thing that I speak about every single day. And we need more people ready to do that. We need more people to do what you're doing right now. We need more people to stand up to what's wrong, because we are getting attacked left, right, and center. And it's all the same people attacking us. This is all government policies that have allowed reaffirming care. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Reaffirming, oh yeah, you have a mental illness, let's reaffirm your mental illness instead of treating it. It's insane. Right, so it's absolutely insane.
Mia Hughes talks about how, imagine if there was a extreme overvalued belief that you were born in an able-bodied body, but that you should be an amputee, right?
And that there are people with that belief.
Yeah, and so you need to correct that by having one of your limbs or multiple limbs amputated, and everybody else has to be incredibly excited about this and celebrate this and tell you that you're super brave and love bomb you about it. And you have people that are like, yes, you're born in the wrong body along the way. And they tell you, imagine a little kid being told that, you might have been born with too many limbs. You might want to cut one of those off. One of those limbs could be a birth defect. You're born in the wrong body. This is so insane. And this is the lobotomy of our time. And so we all need to wake up and smell the coffee, drink the tea, smell the tea, and figure out that we can't be cowards anymore. There's nothing left to lose if you lose the children of your society. This is it, guys. Like, this is not a test.
I couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more.
If we can mobilize, like, continue to talk to each other, build community. I've met you guys. You guys know other people. We need to continually talk to each other and meet together. And free speech, none of this can happen without free speech. And that goes for everyone. If you truly believe in free speech, you need to protect the speech of those you disagree with the most, which can be very difficult to do. Free speech includes the right to hear, not just the right to be heard, but you have a right to hear all sorts of different opinions, whether people are right or wrong. Instead of censoring speech, the answer to speech is that you don't like is more speech, not censorship. Right? So these sorts of things are very important. That's what free speech.
That's what free speech is. Free speech is not about protecting the speech you like. It's about protecting the speech you don't like. That's what free speech is all about. So I agree with you completely. I want to thank you for what you're doing. Good for you for standing up, because like I said, we need a lot more people that are ready to do the tough things, because there's no way it's pleasant for you what you're going through. But know that you have our support. Know that you have a place where you can come by, let us know what's going on, to put the word out. And I really want to thank you for taking the time and joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. If anyone wants to help me fight this fight, I have my fundraiser in my bio on my X account, as well as a buy me a coffee. So there's different options, but anyone who feels like contributing that would be greatly appreciated. I know there's many things to give to, so no, I know that even just a like or a share is fantastic. It really uplifts me, so I appreciate it, and thank you so much for having me on your show, guys.
Absolutely.
And thanks so
Enjoy
much
the
for your
rest of
time,
your day.
Kathy. Have a great day.
Bye.
We'll see you later.
Well, there you have it.
Yep.
We
This
need
is,
more.
interesting chat. Yeah, definitely need more. And I like the free speech angle, because I mean, yeah, of course, that's a huge issue as it relates to trans stuff, but that can be applied to so many other issues as well. In fact, you might make
But it's
the case that
everything.
really,
It's
it's
everything.
That's where the choke point is of all these issues that seem like they're going out of control these days, is at heart, a crackdown on free speech.
It always is. That is the single one. That is the number one thing I speak about every day, and that is why I talk about it, because without free speech, there's nothing. I don't care what the problem is. If you don't have free speech, you're not allowed to talk about it. So
Yeah.
you need to be able to voice your opinion. And yeah,
100%.
it's but I'm happy to see women like her stand up and just go through it, because often, we've said this multiple times on the show. I saw that in the comments too, but the process is often the punishment, and chances are nothing's going to happen out of that, because just your point about the definition was bang on. I just pulled up the definition, and it's easy for them. Literally, you're trying to isolate the kids from their parents. It's part of the definition of grooming. So it shouldn't be too hard to prove in a court of law, but that happened November last year. That's been going on since November. That's been going on for more than a year, and it's not done yet. So the process is often the punishment. And she said on one of her posts that she's already spent about 70 grand for her defense, because lawyers are not cheap. So
no, wow, 70 grand, holy. I thought she was a great guest, and obviously I agree 100% with all things. I almost feel like I would like to talk a little more about the actual her case, although maybe she can't there's some things she can't say. Probably.
I wasn't going to push the conversation too much because I don't want to put her in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
God knows I can do that for myself quite easily. I don't need to be doing that to other people. So, because often, that often appearing on somebody's show, I don't remember who was. I thought it was
it can Dallas. Be used against.
Exactly. Just the fact that you were on somebody's show and they talked about something, you didn't agree with it, but just the fact that you were present on the show while it was discussed, you can be proven to be. It's like you're liable for the speech of others because you're present in the room. Can you imagine? Oh, you were in the same room as that racist, so automatically you're racist. Oh, wow. Okay, that's some great thinking.
Right? Yeah, you breathe the same air as that racist, so
you
must
racist.
Be a racist. You didn't stamp up and down and demand that he retract his statement. So therefore, you must agree with everything he said, and you are also racist.
Absolutely insane. Before we close up the show, because we're already an hour in, man, this flew by.
Yeah, that zoomed.
Yeah, I need to speak about the sponsor of the day. So the sponsor of the day is Gabble, the world's first live video debate app on the market. You can choose to sit back and watch, or if you have the balls like I do, join in and debate others. 3-minute rounds. They have 10 subjects a day that you can debate. Like us, Gabble is about civil discourse. So if you're interested in downloading the app, look in the affiliate link and you can see our affiliate link in the description below. Wow, that was repetitive. I just agreed to go on their platform on Tuesday next week. That would be on the 23rd on Gabble, because the guys are young, right? They're early 20s. They had a great idea. They've been working on it for 2-3 years now. And they're like, hey, as a guy that's debated people on some massive platform, what would you suggest we do? I'm like, well, what you should do is have bigger influencers, politician, whatever, just people with platforms that debate
Right.
people all the time and have shows like once a week, once every 2 weeks, whenever. Two
Yeah.
people show up, they debate, people
Are they
vote,
do, is
and
that
then
they're going to do that?
yeah, they approached me to be. I proposed that to them a couple of weeks ago, and now they approached me yesterday to say we finalized it today. So next week on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be on their platform to debate a guy that also has been on Jubilee Media platform like I have, and he's a lefty. I'm a righty. I don't know what the topics are going to be. Don't matter
That'd be
to me
cool.
what the topics are. I have a fucking opinion on it. I can guarantee you that.
Oh,
So
yeah, no doubt.
next week, but that's going to be cool. So if you guys want to see me debate somebody else, well, next week, Tuesday, 6
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern time. I'll have more information once everything's finalized, but that's the date, and we should have the topic soon enough. But all to say that without free speech, I wouldn't be able to debate people like that. So free speech is the number one thing about everything. So
Yeah, no doubt. All right, guys, we're gonna put a pin in there now. Excellent show. Love that guest. Obviously, she's pretty. Oh,
it's just I forgot before. On Wednesday, we will have columnist from the National Post and writer
oh yeah.
of Don't Be Canada, Tristan Hopper is going to join us on Wednesday. And on Thursday, we will have none other than John Carpe from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom, as they have released a new report on censorship in Canada. They call it the 1,000 click to censorship, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to go from memory, but I believe that that's what it is. So Wednesday, we have National Post columnist and writer Tristan Hopper, and on Thursday we sit down with John Carpe. I'm trying to book Judith Curry this week to come and talk to us about the green agenda that's being pushed in the MOU that was signed by Ottawa and Daniel Smith. And for the guys that don't know who Judith Curry is, she is a climatologist professor that taught at Georgia Tech, and she is considered the the number one anti-climate change, a climate change denier in the world. We had her on the show once. Great. She is a very intelligent woman. And I'm trying to book her to have her discuss the MOU, and she's an American, right? So she sat down, she read the MOU, and then she's going to talk to us how that applies to the green agenda.
Yeah, that'd be a great chat. Lots of good interviews coming up. Obviously, obviously John Carpe, and yeah, this Tristan Hopper guy. I was looking at his X account, and yeah, it'll be a good chat. He's got a lot of things to say about a lot of different topics. So seems kind of guy like who knows where the conversation's going to go, but it's going to be good wherever it does.
Oh, and by the way, he's a no give a fuck approach. Like that guy is not worried about his words at all, so he should fit right in.
Nice, yeah. And other than that, guys, not a bad start to the week. We obviously we didn't we took yesterday off just because of some scheduling conflicts.
We didn't take yesterday off, asshole. You took yesterday off. I recorded for 4 fucking hours, bro. That is long. 4 hours. God,
that's a long time.
Damn, that was long.
That's crazy though. You had Mike Flynn on the show.
General Flynn for
Mike
you,
Flynn.
sir.
Wow,
that was fucking awesome.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Yep. I did not expect that at all, to see General Michael Flynn just show up. I'm like, well, hello, sir.
Well, hello. Yeah, good day, sir.
It's really a leader of men. You know, when we say we need more masculine men, the dude shows up in a t-shirt, and I'm like,
Well, what is
I
he? A
need to
three-star
yeah.
general in the U.S.
Yeah.
Army? Like that's you know, you're gonna be a certain type of guy, even in the DEI
Just the way
era.
he speaks. Just the way he speaks,
you know,
man. Such
Yeah.
eloquent the way he speaks. It's just casual talk to him, but he's like, I can talk to 10 people or 10,000 people. It doesn't matter. He's just like,
Yeah.
the dude was just on point. He was just super cool to listen to.
just rock solid.
You can tell that the guy is used to speaking to massive crowds. He used to be on TV all the time. It's normal for him to be in front of a camera, and you can tell. It's very, very cool. There's levels to this game, and that dude's at the top of the echelon when it comes to public speaking. Like, for him to speak in a camera and a microphone was just, oh, I'm gonna go. It's like going to the bathroom and coming back, right? There was nothing to it. It's cool to hear that type of caliber.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I think we got everything tied up into a nice little bow there, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow, Tuesday, right? So, and then Tristan's here on Wednesday. Is that correct?
Tristan Wednesday, John Carpe Thursday. Tomorrow it's just you and I.
Just
Sorry.
Sorry. Come anyway.
Just
Come anyways. We'll try to make it worth your while. Other than that, folks,
Try.
we will catch. Yeah, we'll catch it. We'll catch you tomorrow
You
night.
try,
Same
I
time
do.
as always. Yeah, same
Bye.
time as always. Peace.
Bye.